Welcome to Sinister Saga Studio, your one stop for everything horror.
Step into the abyss.
The old Victorian mansion stood tall at the end of Willow Street, its grandeur long faded into an eerie shadow of its former self. The once vibrant paint now peeled away in long, ghastly strips, revealing the decaying wood beneath. The windows, like vacant eyes, stared out into the world with an unsettling emptiness. On the outskirts of the small town, the house had become the subject of local folklore. Whispers of the past echoed through its boarded-up corridors, tales of a family who had vanished without a trace, leaving the mansion to the mercy of time. The air around it felt thick with an inexplicable dread, and locals avoided it as if the very walls held malevolent secrets. Enter Emily Thompson, a young and ambitious historian intrigued by the mystery that clung to the mansion. With a passion for uncovering untold stories, Emily decided to make the decaying estate her next project. Little did she know that this decision would plunge her into a world of darkness beyond her wildest nightmares. Emily was a skeptic by nature, dismissing the superstitious tales surrounding the mansion as mere myths. Armed with her notebook, camera, and a determination to unveil the historical secrets of Willow Street, she arrived with a sense of purpose. The townsfolk watched her with a mix of concern and amusement, their warnings falling on deaf ears. Undeterred, Emily pushed open the creaking gate, its rusty hinges protesting as if warning her to turn back. As she stepped onto the overgrown path leading to the mansion, a cold wind whispered through the surrounding trees, sending a shiver down her spine. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of decay, and dust particles danced in the dim light filtering through cracked windows. Emily moved cautiously, her footsteps echoing in the silent corridors. The grandeur of the past was evident in the remnants of faded wallpaper and broken chandeliers that hung precariously overhead. She explored room after room, documenting the mansion's slow descent into ruin. But as she delved deeper, a subtle unease settled over her. Whispers seemed to linger in the stillness, and shadows danced in the corners of her vision. Unfazed, Emily dismissed these sensations as mere products of an overactive imagination. Little did she know that the dormant malevolence within the mansion was beginning to stir, awakening something that had long slumbered in the darkness. Unknown to Emily, the horror that awaited her was far beyond the tales woven by the townsfolk. The mansion held secrets that hungered for revelation, and Emily had unknowingly become a pawn in a macabre game that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. As Emily delved further into the mansion's history, a chilling aura wrapped around her like a spectral shroud. She meticulously combed through old letters, dusty ledgers, and forgotten photographs, each piece of the puzzle revealing a fragment of the dark tale that had unfolded within these decaying walls. Late one moonlit night, as Emily pored over a collection of faded letters in the mansion's study, an unsettling chill permeated the room. The candle flames flickered as if responding to an unseen presence. Emily's heart quickened, sensing an otherworldly energy that transcended the realm of the living. Suddenly, a soft murmur filled the air, indistinct whispers that echoed through the chambers. Emily strained to decipher the voices, realizing they emanated from the walls themselves. It was as if the very foundation of the mansion held the secrets of a tragedy long buried. A door creaked open on its own accord, revealing a corridor enveloped in impenetrable darkness. Hesitant but driven by an insatiable curiosity, Emily stepped into the unknown. The air grew thicker, and an ethereal glow flickered at the end of the corridor, leading her to a room shrouded in an eerie luminescence. In the center of the room, a vintage music box lay dormant, its haunting melody echoing through the empty space. Emily felt a strange compulsion to wind it up, and as the music played, spectral apparitions materialized around her, a family trapped in a timeless moment of despair, their faces etched with sorrow and fear. The room seemed to pulse with the residual emotions of a tragedy that unfolded decades ago. Emily watched in horror as the apparitions replayed their final moments, the air thickening with grief. It became clear that the mansion harbored not just memories, but a malevolent force that clung to the past, refusing to be forgotten. Terrified but determined, Emily documented the supernatural encounter, her notes and photographs capturing a glimpse into the spectral realm, intertwined with the mansion's history. Little did she know that her exploration had awakened something within the mansion, a force that hungered for acknowledgement and retribution. The horror had only just begun, and Emily found herself entangled in a web of paranormal phenomena that defied explanation. Days turned into nights as Emily's investigation into the mansion's haunted history intensified. Sleep became elusive, haunted by vivid nightmares that mirrored the tragedy she had witnessed in that spectral room. Yet, driven by an unrelenting determination, she pressed on, compelled to unravel the mysteries that bound the mansion and the tormented souls within. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that clung to the mansion's decaying exterior, Emily discovered a hidden chamber behind a long-forgotten tapestry. The room was a dusty time capsule, frozen in an eternal moment of grief. It bore witness to a family torn apart by betrayal and despair. Emily meticulously pieced together the tragic narrative, a once loving family shattered by jealousy and malevolence. The patriarch, consumed by a dark secret, had turned against his own flesh and blood. The mansion, once a sanctuary, became a theatre for a familial tragedy that left scars imprinted on its very foundation. As Emily delved into the family's history, she uncovered a series of letters that hinted at a curse born out of desperation and cruelty. It seemed the mansion itself had become a vessel for the vengeful spirits of those wronged, their ethereal presence growing stronger with each passing generation. One fateful night, as Emily delved into the final chapters of the family's sorrowful tale, a storm raged outside, echoing the turmoil within the mansion's walls. Thunderous crashes resonated through the corridors, and the temperature plummeted as the vengeful spirits unleashed their wrath. In the heart of the mansion, Emily stood frozen, a witness to the supernatural storm that mirrored the tempest within the family's tragic history. Shadows twisted and contorted, taking on forms that seemed to mock the living. Unearthly wails filled the air, mingling with the howling wind outside. Suddenly, a blinding light enveloped Emily, and the spirits manifested before her, their anguished faces pleading for release. Time itself seemed to fracture as the mansion quivered with a spectral energy. The tragedy that had befallen the family was etched into the very essence of the house, a never-ending loop of suffering. Overwhelmed by the intensity of the paranormal onslaught, Emily clutched the letters, her hands trembling. It was then, in the heart of the supernatural maelstrom, that tragedy struck again. A force unseen hurled her across the room, and as she collided with the cold, unforgiving floor, a searing pain shot through her body. As Emily lay injured and disoriented, the spirits around her intensified their spectral lament, a symphony of anguish that echoed through the mansion. The very fabric of reality seemed to unravel, and Emily found herself at the mercy of forces beyond her comprehension. In the midst of the supernatural storm, the mansion revealed its darkest secret, and Emily, unwittingly entangled in its malevolent grasp, became a victim of the very curse she sought to expose. The tragedy that had unfolded decades ago now claimed a new chapter, with Emily at its center. The once skeptical historian now faced a horrifying reality that surpassed anything she could have imagined. In the aftermath of the supernatural onslaught, Emily found herself in a realm that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. The mansion, now a twisted labyrinth of spectral corridors, seemed to warp reality itself. Time flowed in disjointed currents, and Emily moved through the ethereal landscape like a lost soul caught between dimensions. As she navigated the spectral maze, Emily encountered fragments of the past, echoes of the family's tragedy replaying in a never-ending loop. The vengeful spirits, once bound by the chains of their own sorrow, now sought release through Emily, their spectral hands reaching out with a desperate yearning. Every step brought her closer to the heart of the mansion's malevolence, where the very essence of the curse lay dormant. The air pulsed with an ominous energy, and shadows danced in grotesque patterns, each telling a silent tale of anguish and betrayal. In her journey through the spectral corridors, Emily discovered a series of cryptic symbols etched into the walls. These arcane markings seemed to serve as a gateway between the realms, a conduit for the supernatural forces that held the mansion in their clutches. With each symbol she deciphered, the malevolent presence intensified, the veil between the living and the dead growing thinner. As Emily delved deeper, she uncovered a ritual that had bound the spirits to the mansion. A pact, born of desperation and fueled by a thirst for revenge, had imprisoned the souls within the decaying walls. The patriarch, driven to madness by his own dark secrets, had unwittingly become a conduit for an ancient, malevolent force. The curse, rooted in betrayal and despair, had twisted the very fabric of reality, creating a nightmarish realm where time lost its meaning. Emily realized that the only way to break the curse and free the tormented spirits was to confront the malevolent force at its source. In the heart of the mansion, a chamber veiled in an otherworldly glow awaited. As Emily entered, the air crackled with spectral energy, and the symbols on the walls pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. The malevolent force, now fully awakened, manifested before her in a grotesque display of ethereal tendrils and shadowy forms. With the knowledge gleaned from her investigation and the symbols guiding her, Emily faced the malevolent force head-on. A surge of supernatural energy coursed through her, and she uttered the words that would unravel the ancient curse. The symbols glowed brighter, resonating with the power of the incantation. As the curse began to unravel, the mansion convulsed, its spectral architecture contorting and warping. Emily felt a searing pain as the malevolent force fought against its impending release. Shadows writhed in a final display of resistance, but the symbols held firm, their mystical power overwhelming the ancient curse. In a blinding burst of ethereal light, the malevolent force dissipated, leaving behind a profound stillness. The chamber, once a nexus of supernatural power, returned to a state of eerie calm. The spirits, liberated from their eternal torment, ascended like wisps of dissipating fog, their anguished cries fading into a distant echo. Emily, drained but victorious, emerged from the heart of the mansion. The spectral maze that had ensnared her disintegrated, and reality began to reassert itself. The once foreboding mansion stood silent, its malevolence extinguished. As the first light of dawn broke on Willow Street, Emily emerged from the decaying estate, her eyes reflecting the weight of the horrors she had witnessed. The townsfolk, still unaware of the supernatural events that had unfolded, regarded her with a mix of curiosity and concern. The haunted mansion, now a mere relic of its dark past, stood as a testament to the thin veil between the living and the dead. Emily, forever changed by her harrowing ordeal, carried with her the echoes of a family's tragedy and the scars left by a malevolent force that had tested the boundaries of mortal understanding. The once skeptical historian had become a witness to the supernatural, a guardian of the untold tales that lurked in the shadows. As she walked away from Willow Street, Emily knew that the horrors of the haunted mansion would linger in her memory, a chilling reminder that some mysteries were better left undisturbed. In the aftermath of the supernatural showdown within the haunted mansion, Willow Street remained shrouded in an eerie silence. The once vibrant town now bore witness to the unfolding of a tale that transcended the boundaries of the ordinary. The townsfolk, oblivious to the malevolent force that had plagued the old Victorian estate, continued their day-to-day lives, unaware of the darkness that had lingered just beyond their perception. Emily, the intrepid historian who had ventured into the realm of the supernatural, struggled to find solace in the wake of her haunting experience. The echoes of the family's tragedy and the spectral manifestations that had tormented her persisted in her nightmares, a constant reminder of the thin veil that separated the living from the dead. Determined to bring closure to the town and to herself, Emily compiled her findings into a detailed account of the haunted mansion's history. Her written testimony became a testament to the malevolent force that had ensnared the family, and the courage it took to confront and break the ancient curse. As she shared her story with the world, the once skeptical historian became a beacon of caution, a warning to those who dared to delve into the mysteries of the supernatural. The townsfolk, upon learning of Emily's ordeal, began to regard the old mansion with newfound reverence. The decaying estate, once an ominous relic of the past, now stood as a cautionary tale, a reminder that some secrets were best left undisturbed. As the sun set on Willow Street, casting long shadows over the silent mansion, the townspeople collectively agreed to let the haunted estate rest in peace. However, Emily's journey had left an indelible mark on her, and the supernatural realm continued to tug at the edges of her reality. Haunted by the memories of the spirits she had encountered, Emily found herself drawn to the obscure. The paranormal had become an inseparable part of her existence, an invisible thread that connected her to a world beyond the understanding of most. In the quiet corners of Willow Street, whispers of Emily's encounter with the supernatural lingered. The townsfolk, once skeptical of the tales surrounding the mansion, now regarded the old Victorian estate with a mixture of fear and awe. Legends were born from the fragments of truth, and the haunted mansion became a focal point for those who sought to explore the mysteries that lay hidden in the shadows. As the years passed, Emily's written account became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations. The haunted mansion on Willow Street, though weathered by time and reclaimed by nature, retained an air of mystery. Some claimed to hear faint echoes of the family's tragedy on moonlit nights, while others reported glimpses of ethereal apparitions in the corridors. Emily, now an elderly keeper of the town's secrets, watched from afar as new generations dared to uncover the mysteries she had faced. The supernatural realm continued to pulse beneath the surface, a constant reminder that the veil between the living and the dead was fragile, and some mysteries could never truly be laid to rest. As the sun set on Willow Street, casting long shadows over the haunted mansion, Emily closed her eyes, reflecting on a life forever changed. The echoes of the family's tragedy and the malevolent force that had once held sway over the decaying estate faded into the recesses of history. The town, with its tales of the haunted mansion, became a nexus where the ordinary and the extraordinary intersected, a place where the living and the dead coexisted in a delicate dance that transcended the passage of time.